Hello everyone. Today we'll discuss about the LeetCode daily problem. So the problem number is 3643. Flip square submatrix vertically. So let's deal with the problem statement. You are given an m-cross matrix grid with three integers x, y, k. The integers x, y represent their own column indices of the top left corner of a squared submatrix, and k represents the side length. Your task is to flip the submatrix by reversing the order of its rows vertically and return the updated matrix. Okay, the problem statement seems to be quite easy. Let's see what we are supposed to do. We are given with the matrix 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And we are given with x equals to 1, y equals to 0, k equals to 3. So since we are given with x, y and k, this is the row number 0, 1, 2, 3, column 0, 1, 2, 3. So x represents the row number, so the row is, this is the row that we were focusing on, and y equals to 0, so this is the column that we need to focus. So the starting top left element is 5, and then k equals to 3, so we need to consider a size of 3 to vertically and through horizontally. So now the submatrix would be 3 size from element 5 to the right and 3 size from element 5 to the bottom, so that would be size 3. So this is the submatrix that we are left with. Now from here we need to swap elements. When we see the problem statement, we can see that your task is to flip the submatrix by reversing the order of its row vertically. That means that we need to flip these elements on this row with this row, and then the next row with the previous row to this. So now when we do that, we'll be left with 5 is gonna be swapped with 13, so 13 comes here, 5 goes there, and then if we repeat this, 14 comes here, 6 goes there, 15, 7. Since we are left with only one row, the elements are gonna stay at the same position, and then the rest of the elements are gonna be the same. If you observe the output, you can see that the first row did not change here, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the next row became 13, 14, 15, 8, and then 9, 10, 11, 12, and then 5, 6, 7, 16. So, and if you wanna try, you can also make a dry run of this example, and the approach is quite a simple. For this, we need to focus on the first row that where the elements are gonna swap. So we need to find the first row, and we also need to focus on the last row, which decides the range of the elements that we need to swap. So the first row and the second row, the last row, sorry. So if we know the first row and last row, then our game is almost ended. If we know the value of this first row and last row, then we can simply do first row plus plus, and then last row minus minus, with the condition something like first row less than or equals to last row. And then if we could do swap elements, then it's easy for us. We'll try to code it up. So let m represents the number of rows and n represents the number of columns, and then we'll also have x, y, and k, right? So the first row becomes x, which we are given with, and last row becomes x plus k minus 1. In the example, if we see here, x is given 1 and k is 3, so the last row is x plus k minus 1, that's 1 plus 3 minus 1, that is 3. if we number it 0 1 2 3, so x is 1, right? So this is our first row and x is 3, and this is our last row. We can use this to get our last row, and then we'll use the condition while first row less than or equals to last row. We need to iterate through each row, so I'm going to use a for loop for I is equals to first row while less than or equals to first row I plus plus, and then we're gonna iterate column wise in that row for j is equals to y, the first element in the column, and then j less than y plus k, j plus plus. We need to swap here. The g represents the grid that was given in the problem statement, g of I comma j comma g of last row comma j. Once we swap n row, we'll done with the for loops, and then we need to increase the first row value, first row plus plus, and we also need to decrease the last row value, last row minus minus. So in one iteration we'll be swapping this row with the last row, and then for the next iteration we'll be continuing with the next row here and the previous row here. So it's like an we'll deal with this box like this row and this row, and then the box will become like a bit smaller. We'll deal with this thing and this thing, and then perhaps until they both meet at the same line. That's when our condition ends, and we'll return our grid at the end, return grid. Yep. Sorry, this is the final version of the code. It represents the rows, and this represents the columns, the first row, the last row, and the condition while first row is less than or equals to last row. We add through each row, and then through each column in that row, specific row, and then we swap elements, and then we do first row plus plus, last row minus minus. Once our condition ends, we'll return the grid. Yeah, if you still have any doubts on this, please feel free to comment below. Thank you. Bye bye.